if we expand NATO, it means that the United States will be providing additional security guarantees that will be more embroiled in European conflicts. This isn't the time for that. We can't do everything. The United States can't do everything. We've got to focus on the safety of the American people, and the number one threat to that abroad right now is China, in addition to, of course, our problems on our southern border.
Okay, there is an anti-American insurrectionist supporting overthrow the government, win at all costs authoritarian, gulag-loving Senator Josh Hawley, who starts with garbage in and ends up with garbage out. That's why I refer to their mouths as these disgusting sewers. This is so bizarre to me. No one, are we clear about this? No one is inviting Ukraine to join NATO, not any of the NATO nations, certainly not us. And they sit there and they say, well, if we expand NATO, then. So it's a garbage in, garbage out conversation. This is, it's like give a provocateur a microphone and a paycheck and see what kind of, garbage we can, get out of their mouths. To literally infect the people who have siloed themselves just to watch this channel of fantasy, lies, and propaganda. This is a private company that is doing this in these United States of America. I don't think people understand the difference between the airwaves, okay? The only public airwaves there are AM and FM, okay? AM and FM. These cable or satellite groups, okay, they're private. They're privately owned. And there's no rules that keep them from propagandizing. And we need to do that. You have these companies, these private outfits with, billions of dollars of market capitalization, and they give their most provocative, identifiable humans microphones and giant paychecks. And then, they just spew garbage all day, every day, and nobody is any smarter for it. Nobody is any better prepared for it. Nobody is less ignorant for it. This is so bizarre. And I got to tell you, listen, the idea that we can actually bring football into this racist conversation now is so handy. It's so useful because what we have here is the most popular sport in America, the most popular sport. And we're finding out that it's not just Brian Flores who is alleging that there is a racist plantation mentality going on in that sport, where you have 70% of the players of that sport, 70% of the people who are risking their lives, their heads, their bodies, their limbs, to their detriment. What's the average life of a football player? I mean, take Tom Brady out of it, right? Because it's 3 years. It is. It's 3 years for an average career in on the field in football. It's 3 years. Okay. And so you've got this crazy plantation thing where the white owners are promoting this gladiator type sport to us, and we like it. I mean, you talk about, bread and circuses, right? And the plantation owners are loath to promote anybody for their own mind, for their ability to strategically think and plan and execute on a plan. No, they're not welcome inside the plantation owner's home. They're only welcome in the field. They're only welcome on the field. You get it? And if you get too uppity, then you will be fired. See, and also the idea that they have to have a rule that says that you must at least entertain the notion of hiring a black head coach. That rule is 20 years old, that Rooney rule that you're going to start to hear about now. That thing is 20 years old, and it still hasn't produced anything. Now that Brian Flores is gone, now you have one black coach. You have exactly one black, head coach. People are very specific about their football. Not so much about their government, but very specific about their football. So you got one African-American, one black head coach I think he's the Pittsburgh Steelers coach. I could be wrong. Brett will tell me. But anyway, so he's alleging two things also. He's saying two different things. One, that they pretended to give him a fair shake at the head coach job someplace else, right? But really, they had already hired somebody, and Bill Belichick, by accident texted the wrong Brian. Yeah, not Brian Flores. He thought he was texting some other Brian, saying, congratulations on the job before Brian Flores was ever even interviewed. And so we learned that Brian Flores was only being interviewed to check off the box on the Rooney Rule, right? And now we have other coaches speaking out. Brian Flores said the second accusation he made was that he was offered a bribe. Take a bribe of $100,000 for every game he lost. For every game he lost. Well, you know that this is a huge problem because the NFL is now encouraging gambling, and the rigging of the game is illegal, but it's also going to screw up all this advertising money and this push to legalize gambling if the game can be rigged by the plantation owners. Well, there's a second person that has come forward. I don't know if anybody remembers Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson was a coach at the Cleveland Browns. And Hugh Jackson, I can't play it because it's a clip from ESPN, and ESPN is owned by Disney, and they're the Gestapo about copyright infringement. So I can't play you what Hugh Jackson told ESPN. But basically, he said he was also not $100,000 per game, not that specific, but he was promised bonus money at the end of the season if his team lost. And his record was a losing record. And he's saying that black coaches are usually put in place to do that dirty work so that the white owners can get a first-round draft pick out of the losing position. And then the black coaches are fired because it looks like to us that even though we gave them the worst team possible on purpose and told them there's bonus money if you lose, even if they don't agree to that, and Hugh did not agree to it. Hugh Jackson said, why don't you take this bonus money and buy some players with talent? Give me a team I can work with. Let's win. They weren't interested in it. So he's come out and said that. And also the former Bengals coach, Marvin Lewis, also an African-American coach, he said that he was told to go interview with the Panthers, but he already knew that somebody else had gotten that job. And so he was like, well, why am I going there to talk to the family, the plantation owners of the Carolina Panthers? Why am I being called down to the plantation when I know that, what's his name, John Fox? When I know that John Fox, who they call Foxy, got the job. Why are you doing that? And it was to check off the box for the Rooney Rule. Why is everything a freaking racist racket? Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.